Cebuanos Filipinos continue to thrive wherever they are all over the world. Catch a glimpse of their adventures as they explore and experience the world and share experiences with Filipinos living abroad. Join us and travel the world through their eyes with Attorney Divine Marshall Flores live from New Brunswick, Canada, and Tony Ortega live from British Columbia, Canada. This is CCTN International Pinoy Journeys.
Good morning Cebu, good morning Philippines. Welcome sa atong tulumanan CCTN International Pinoy Journeys. Ako na usab si Divine Marshall Flores, live gikan diri sa New Brunswick, Canada.
O ako na usab si Tony Ortega, live gikan sa British Columbia, Canada. Maayong buntag Cebu, good afternoon Canada.
Yes, maayong hapon nimo diha Brad Tony ug sa tanan natong nagtan-aw karon sa Cebu ug sa tibuok Pilipinas. Maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. Sa tanang nagtan-aw nato all over the world, good morning, good afternoon or good evening. Ber month na gyud ron Brad Tony, September 1 karon sa Pilipinas. Busa hapit ng Pasko na nimaho na.
Attorney Divine, tinuod, pero you are now using Bisaya. So ako sa siguro, magtinagalog po ko diri siguro. So magandang umaga Pilipinas, magandang hapon Canada. Nandito na naman tayo sa programang Pinoy Journey, CCTN International Pinoy Journey. Para po sa impormasyon ng iba, nawala po tayo ng ilang beses. Sobrang busy. Sa awa ng Diyos, natapos na rin yung mga ginagawa natin. At saka kailangan siguro nating magtagalog tayo, Divine, because yung guest natin ngayon hindi masyadong makakaintindi ng Bisaya. So ang gawin natin ngayon, Tagalog, English, no matter what yung yung accent natin. Ang importante is maiintindahan tayo ng televiewers natin ngayon. Lalo na nakikita tayo ngayon not only in Facebook, not only in Cebu in the Philippines, but makikita tayo all over the world.
Yeah. Actually, may marami akong gustong malaman sa guest natin, tungkol sa journey ng guest natin. Kasi, nung nakausap ko siya kanina, Brad Tony, imagine, dumating siya dito sa Canada in 1986. At that time, he was still 16 years old, teenager. Parang kaedad lang ng eldest ko, no? Nung dumating siya. And then, so dito na siya graduate ng high school at saka nag-college. At tapos dito na siya nag-asawa at Canadian talaga yung napangasawa niya. So excited ako kung paano ba nag-merge ng culture ng Canada at ng Pilipinas, di ba?
Totoo po yun, Attorney Divine, yung sinabi niya sa atin na yung asawa pala niya is Blondie. Sabi ko, ano kayang mukha ng mga anak dito? Hindi kaya ito Korean, Mexican, Filipino, Canadian. So kaya nga sinabi mo, excited excited din tayo na makilala. And aside from that, Attorney Divine, biroin mo naman na akala kasi nila tayong mga Pilipino, nagpunta lang tayo sa iba't ibang bansa to work. But I think this time also we need to level up our image as a community here in British Columbia. Not only in British Columbia but all over the world, Attorney Divine. You know what? Kasi mayroon pong tayong dapat malalaman sa kanya ngayon. So I think hindi na natin kailangan pang pahabain yung oras. Kailangan na natin ngayon na ipa-introduce yung pangalan niya. So ngayon yung guest natin ngayon is isa po siyang Pilipino, pumunta siya sa Canada at the age of 15 or 16, pero yung accent niya marunong pa rin siya, kaya nga mga kaibigan, ipakilala ko po sa iyo ngayon, yung guest natin ngayon, CCTN International Pinoy Journey is no other than Ramon Bandong.
Hi, sir! Good morning!
Hello, good evening mga kababayan. Ramon Bandong po, calling you from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Kamusta po lahat?
Okay, so thank you for giving us the opportunity, no, na makausap po kayo tungkol sa journey nyo.
Yes.
I know na ilang taon na po kayong nanirahan dito sa Canada. But before kami ni Tony mag-start ng magtanong ng tungkol sa journey mo dito sa Canada, sa Pilipinas muna tayo. Saan po ba kayo isinilang sa Philippines?
Pinanganak po ako sa UST Medical Center in April 1971. And yeah.
Taga Manila po talaga kayo.
Talagang taga Manila talaga. And then ang dad ko taga Lingayen, Pangasinan. And then my mom grew up in Naga City, Legazpi City, Bicol region. And they met as co-workers sa Pure Foods. Doon sila. Doon yung mahal nila doon naganap.
Oh. Okay. So, yung parents mo, paano nangyari? Ba't kayo napunta sa Canada? And at the time, you were still 16 years old.
Yes, 15, 16. The reason is, Attorney Divina, is yung plano talaga ng mama at ni papa is for my sister, meron akong younger sister si Regina, for us to have a better life dito sa Canada. So ang ginawa natin, yung buhay natin doon maganda sa Pilipinas. We had our own food processing factory. We had in Taguig. I remember, we produced hot dogs, hamburgers, bacon, yung mga breakfast foods for a good few years. Pero they wanted the future for Regina and I. So ang ginawa nila, binenta nila yung bahay, binenta nila yung business, binenta nila kotse. So lahat ng ari-arian namin, ate, was naiwan sa 15 maletas. Yun ang dinala namin sa Vancouver International Airport when we landed on June 18th, 1986. So everything we owned, lahat ng ari-arian namin was there. So of course, that was all clothes. That there was no material things. That was our material things. So, so we came.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, nag-land po kayo sa Canada. PR na ba kayo at that time or what?
Pakiulit po yung tanong.
When you landed in Canada, yung pamilya mo, mga PR na po ba kayo?
Yes. At that point in time. We landed as permanent residents at that point in time. And then prior to us landing, yung magulang ko already looked for a place for us to live about a year before. They looked in the US, they looked in Canada, and Canada was more promising, mas madaling makapasok, and then the life was better in 1986 here. I mean, still great living here, pero yun ang kaya pinili nila Vancouver. Naalala ko pa nga ate nung sinabi ni mama at ni Paps, so papunta na tayo sa Vancouver. Sabi ko, kailangan ba natin iwanan ng mga kaibigan namin dito? So kasi it was such a shock, So as a teenager, alam mo na ang buhay mo, mga kaibigan mo. So pag iniwanan mo sila, suddenly parang wow. Big culture shock.
Yeah.
Ramon, mayroon akong tanong sa iyo, Mon, kasi maganda ang buhay natin sa Pilipinas.
Yes.
Ano po ba yung category ng entry ng visa category, yung application ng mommy at daddy mo pagpunta nila dito sa Canada?
When they came here, Kuya Tony, they applied for some. Keep in mind I was young, so I remember yung entrepreneur visa, permanent resident program. That's what they went through. And at that point in time, because they were in food processing, they came up with it. I think it was something to do with like salmon sausage, right? Because maraming salmon dito. They know how to make sausage. They know how to make. That's I think I remember as a kid, yun yung mga nilalasahan namin. Hey, how does this taste? Kami yung mga taste testers to make sure na when they were talking to their immigration counterpart dito, yun yung pinopromote nilang produkto na plano nilang gawain dito, at least to get started. So yeah, that was it through the entrepreneur program, Kuya Tony.
Yeah, investors visa, di ba? Yun yung
Exactly.
investors visa.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So, teenager ka that time, syempre, no? You still remember kung ano yung nangyari pagdating nyo, lalo na sa'yo, no? Kasi bago, iba yung culture, iba yung pagkain. Anong natatandaan mo at the time? Most especially nung nag-start ka ng mag-school?
Nahalata ako dito, siyempre, komportable tayo magsalita ng English noon, pero ang pag-iisip ko noon, pag nagsasalita ako ng English, is Tagalog. Ngayon, pag nagsasalita ako ng Tagalog, ang pag-iisip ko English. So yung translation, may nawawala sa translation. Pero ang nahalata ko noon, ate, ang kagandahan, at that time, it was a struggle for us, being honest with you, right? We gave up a good life sa Philippines for hopefully a better life here. Pero ang naranasan namin, unfortunately, I can't speak for my mom, dad, or sister, but I can speak for myself. Ang naranasan ko, ate, unfortunately, is racism, right? As a child, I felt na I was not Filipino enough for some Filipinos, and I was not Canadian enough for some Canadians. Parang I didn't know, parang wala ko ngayong lugar. I don't know where I belong. So it was the race. So the way I came up with the way to put at peace yung duality ko, where do I belong, is ganito, ate. It came to me through many struggles. Ang Pilipinas is always going to be ang motherland natin because doon tayo pinanganak. Ang Canada is our fatherland because dito tayo lumaki. So kailangan natin parehong magulang para umunlad tayo dito.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's how I came to bang my own settlement kung am I Filipino or am I Canadian? I'm actually both. Right? So and then that's what I might teach my kids, especially for them, baliktad naman sila, puti sila, na they're learning about their Philippine culture. So yun yung, that's how I've come to terms with it. And then, I mean, racism still continues, but it's not as prevalent, and it doesn't affect me as much because I know who I am. Right? So that's how I came to my own identity, my new identity.
But what about the culture and the food? Paano kayo nag-adjust doon? At saka yung weather, kasi wala tayong winter sa Pilipinas.
Exactly. Yung pinakamalaking change for me is dito maraming kumakain ng potato imbes na kanin instead of rice.
Yeah.
So for me, getting used to eating potato, I mean, I still ate rice, pero getting used to eating potato was a change. Yung weather, of course, right? Yung summer dito, I remember our first summer here, naka-sweater ka dito. So samantalang lahat ng mga tao dito naka-shorts, parang wow, giniginaw ako. And it's the funny thing. So those are the two that came, and then of course. Just yung English nila dito walang accent, walang Filipino accent yung English nila. So just trying to copy that para you fit in and you don't stand out. So those are some of the things that was a shock to me in the beginning. And the other thing too, ate, is when we came to Canada, before we came to Canada, when we were preparing to come, we took yung summer holidays namin doon, yung during, based on the Filipino school year. Tapos when we came here, we also took the summer holidays here. So my sister and I, basically, hindi kami nag-attend ng eskwela. Kung i-add up mo lahat yon for a couple of months, more than 2 months, or I think more like 4 months. So I was just trying to get used to when we entered grade 9, for me, yung just getting back into school. That was the other shock as well.
sa tingin ko, Brad Tony, mas madaling maka-adjust yung mga younger kaysa tulad na ng edad natin, di ba?
Yes.
Totoo yun, Divine. Totoo yun.
So, yung mga parents,
Absolutely.
yung mga parents nyo po, kumusta naman po ang business nyo pagdating?
It was a struggle, ate. It was a struggle. My dad, ang background niya sa atin is he's a chemical engineer. Ang degree niya, and my mom is a nutritionist. Pagdating namin dito in 1986, neither of those credentials in the Philippines were recognized here. So we had to start from scratch, ate. We had to start from scratch. So Papa got whatever job he could to support us, while Mama stayed home with Regina and I para maka-adjust kami, So it was a struggle. It was a great struggle. Parang that's one of the reasons we binenta namin lahat ng mga business ng ari-arian para kung magkahirapan man kami dito,
May pera.
walang temptasyon na bumalik doon. sinunog namin yung bangka, ate. We burned the ships para walang temptation to go back. We were gonna make it work here.
Mon, paano po, Mon, pagdating ninyo dito, kasi under kayo ng investor's visa, anong nangyari sa investor's plan?
As far as I know, it led to that's where I'm not too familiar on what happened to that part. I left that up to my mom and dad. Pero what I do remember is we just pressed on with trying to get our permanent residency. And then a few years later, so we came in 86. By 1991, we applied for a Canadian citizenship and got our Canadian citizenship around about a year after I graduated from high school.
Okay. So, meaning to say, yung parents mo, alam nyo talaga na mag-struggle tayo in the beginning, di ba? At yun yung so, bininta yung mga ari-arian para hindi talaga kayo babalik na sa Pilipinas. So, ilang taon ang sa tingin mo, na ilang taon po hanggang naging stable yung buhay nyo dito sa Canada?
Wow. I would say not until, I would say mga not 4 years. Not even high school, we were just getting stabilized. I would say more like 5 to 8 years before we could really stabilize. I mean, I remember in the beginning, mag-apply ka ng credit card because wala kang credit card Canadian history.
Yeah.
Hindi ka lamang even makakuha ng Zeller's credit card or whatever back then. Tapos pag na-establish ka na, bigay sila ng bigay dito para bang candy. Parang hindi ko na kailangan ngayon mo in-offer sa amin. So yeah, it was mga 4 to 8 years, I would say, Attorney Divina, for us to really get established before we felt na okay, I think we made the right decision. I mean, throughout that, you have kind of like, did we really make the right decision? Well, too late to turn back. So we were gonna make it work.
Yeah.
Attorney Divine, speaking of stability, kasi siguro, depende rin siguro yun kung ano yung level of stability ang gusto mo. Kasi hindi tayo stable, yung sabi na, sa akala mo hindi mo stable, pero on the other side, depende kasi natin kung yung level natin na gustong yung stability. I think siguro yung depende din sa pananaw natin, kaya nagkakaroon siya ng tanong, anong ilang taon kaya na magiging may stable ka? Kasi minsan, Attorney Divine, yung mga nagpunta dito, depende din yung sitwasyon nila sa Pilipinas nang nagpunta sila dito. Kunyari, satisfied na kami, ito na lang yung gusto namin. Kasi yung stability po is leveling po siya. Tumataas ang gusto mo. Pero I think si Ramon siguro because yung pinagdaanan nila may business sila doon, malaki maganda yung nila. Kaya it took siguro ng 5 years before na declare na nandito na kami. Pero sa atin sa atin ni Divine basta makapunta na tayo doon. Okay na kami, stay na lang kami.
Yeah.
May bahay na, may pagkain na, ayos na tayo.
Yeah, tama. Oo. So, ikaw personally, sir, at that time, hindi nyo biniblame yung parents nyo. Ang ganda-ganda ng buhay natin sa Pilipinas. May katulong pa tayo, may business tayo. Ba't tayo nagpunta dito? Hindi nyo naisip yan?
Yeah. Hindi, ate, because ganitong ginawa ni mama at ni dad. Before we moved to Canada, before we had like mga, I would say, mga tatlong katulong, tsaka isang labadera sa bahay. Pero ang ginawa ni mama at ni dad before we left, a year before we left, so isang buong taon bago umalis, pinalis nila yung mga katulong. Siyempre, binayaran nila yung tapos we just had a weekly labandera that came para to wash our clothes. Pero the reason na ginawa nila yan is para si Regina at saka ako masanay mag-do own dishes natin, maglinis ng aming banyo, lahat ng mga yon, because from crib to teenager, somebody else did that for us, right?
True.
Somebody else. So we were spoiled, ate. We were spoiled. So to make sure na yung culture shock wasn't going to be that much, pinepare na kami isang taon na buo bago kami dumating dito. I mean, it wasn't a true reflection because iba pa rin dito pagdating. Pero at least it got our mind thinking na, ganito ang buhay doon. Ganito ang buhay doon. Ang nakakatawa pa nga, ate, is nung nakabalik kami ng 2017 for my lola's 94th birthday, lola, or my lola, so my mom's mom, sanay na tayo maglinis dito ng ating pinggan, tayo ng laundry. Pagdating ko doon sa bahay ni lola, ako na huhugas ng pinggan, sabi na makatulong, Sir Ramon, kami na lang bahala. No, kaya ko na ito. So yung ang nangyari ngayon.
Yeah, it's true. Totoo yan.
Tama. Kasi nasanay tayong gumawa lahat, di ba?
Lahat. Wala kang katulong dito. Ikaw ang katulong.
Yeah. So nung graduate na po kayo sa sa high school, kasi dito pag gumagraduate ka ng high school while nag-schooling ka for college, pwede ka nang magtrabaho part-time. Na-experience mo din ba 'yun?
Right after high school, actually, I just attended one semester sa DeVry Institute of Technology sa Calgary. There was an electronics engineering technology program there. Natapos ko yung isang semester, pero I did not feel that was for me. So instead na continue on spending mom and dad's money to finish my post-secondary education, just trabaho. So that's when I picked up whatever shift I could. So of course, just like anything, you have to start from the bottom. So I've been a dishwasher, I've been a laborer, I've been kung ano mang whatever it took to get to at least get a paycheck. Tapos when I got married, ganun din, dishwasher, forklift operator, whatever it took to put food on the table. So karamihan ng I picked up yung education ko on the way na. So basically, I was roughly in my late 20s, early 30s when I was already on my second or third child. Na that ended up in financial services. It's just like, hey, why don't we do this? And then that's where I gained my lending experience. I became mutual fund license. So all of those. And then I found my calling in finance, Attorney Divina, is when, pero that wasn't later through life. I'm what you call a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Because, right? And so yeah, so that's why yun ang yun ang experience ko so far. So
Aha. Okay. So, ilang taon po ba kayo nag-asawa? At saka, kanina sinabi mo, Canadian talaga yung wife mo. Not Filipino-Canadian, but Canadian talaga. Paano ba kayo mag-court? Kasi iba iba yung style ng pagko-court ng mga Pinoy. Ano bang ina-apply mo? Yung Canadian style na ba or Filipino style pa rin sa pagko-court ng asawa mo?
Attorney Divine, parang nagmarites ka.
Marites mo na tayo. Yeah.
well, it's gonna be really interesting kung ano yung love story namin ni Lorian because the way we met is very how shall we say unconventional in the sense na keep in mind this was in 1998. So internet was just coming to be and all of that stuff, but we met through the internet. and then it was on a like a religious kind of a dating site of members of the certain church, and kami lang yung dalawang most of them were from New York, New Mexico, Utah. Kami lang yung taga BC, or I should say Western Canada. And then ako taga BC, siya taga Alberta. So ganun nag-umpisa yung natin, yung romance. So online is nag-meet kami, we chatted for a whole month. And then pinagdasal ko na ito na talaga yung gusto kong gusto ko na maging asawa. So nagbibiro-biroan na kami. Sabi ko, bago kita bisitahin in person sa Alberta, pupunta ako sa Carrot Patch, K-A-R-A-T, not C-A-R-R-O-T. Tapos tinanong ko na anong kulay, So by the time na na-meet ko siya in person, I met her October 3rd, 1998, proposed to her October 4th, 1998, and we got married October 5th, 1998.
Ang bilis.
Okay, keep in mind.
Ang bilis.
Ang bilis. Once you know, you don't delay. This is how I live my life. I always, when I know, I don't, I jump in. So I remember nung so I visited her sa Alberta. Ano pa niya, ang objective noon was to become her date sa niece's wedding niya. By the time we got to the niece's wedding, mag-asawa na kami, husband and wife na. So I remember, sinabi ko sa mama ko, Ma'am, and nandito pa kasi sila sa BC, tapos nandun ako sa Alberta. Sabi ko, Mama, pauwi na ako. I'm just gonna come home, pick up my clothes, and I'm coming back here. Oh, and by the way, Mom, I got married. Love you, bye. Click. Syempre, alam mo na, anong iniisip mo? Ano ka ba? And then, so I remember, na-meet ni Mama tsaka ni Regina, my younger sister, si Dorian. Tapos, Dorian was a single mom when I met her. So, yung 5-year-old daughter ko, she was a single mom, Addie. She was raising her. And then I remember, when my mom and sister met both of them, sabi nila, Ramon, if you don't make this work, we'll keep them and kick you out, because they love them so much, right? And so yung origin story ng Bandong started out in a small southern Alberta town called Mossleigh, Mossleigh. So anytime na bumabalik kami sa Alberta, doon kami nagbibisita because dito tayo nag-umpisa. And then, ang mostly kung sa mapa, napakaliit. Hindi lamang town. It's a hamlet. So more like a barrio. Ang population na siguro I would say is probably 50 to 100 people, like actual residents that live there. Yung mostly napakaliit, yung gas station functions both as the post office and the grocery.
Really?
And then we manage ganun kaliit yung mostly. And then the reason na yung first year of marriage namin, we manage a small motel called the Mosley Inn. Siya yung in-house manager, doon din siya nakatira. So yung first year ng marriage namin, nandun kami. We raised Adi there, my eldest. Tapos yung pangalawa si Isabella, doon siya pinanganak.
Okay.
Yeah, so yun yung first year of our marriage. We managed a small motel.
Mon, may tanong ako. Mon,
Yes.
may tanong ako sa iyo kasi according to studies na pag yung nag-aasawa, hindi sila parehang culturally the same.
Yeah.
Mayroong percentage daw na it ended for nagkakaintindihan kasi hindi nila alam yung kultura. Or it ended siya na hihiwalay. Sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, hindi ba kayo nahirapan in understanding each culture?
In the beginning, yeah, mahirap. Talagang, siyempre, because ang points of view natin iba. Ang upbringing natin iba. Ang principles natin iba. Pero so yun yung kaibahan. Pero yung unifying factor namin is we belong to the same church. So we go to the same church. So yun yung parang unifying feature namin, even though yung cultures are different. I mean, just like any relationship, any marriage, it takes constant communication talaga and understanding and forgiveness and all of that, right? So, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's still we're working towards it together.
Yeah. Okay. So at that time, ilang taon po kayo at saka yung misis mo?
At that time, I was 25.
25.
And my Lorianne was 25 also. Yeah, because we're only we're only 5 months apart. I'm only 5 months older.
Okay. So ngayon, ilang taon na yung eldest ninyo?
So by the time I met Lorianne, si Adi at that time was 5 years old. One of the things that yung sinabi sa akin ni Adi bago ako bumunta sa Alberta, sabi niya, Ramon, kailan ka dadating dito para mapangasawa mo mama ko para maging ikaw mang papa ko, sabi niya sa akin. Right? So yeah. So yun. So yun na yung eldest ko ngayon. She's 28, may asawa na, ito yung may dalawang anak na. Yung grandson ko is 7, yung eldest, tapos yung youngest is 3. So ito na yung may asawa at saka may dalawang anak.
So ilang anak nyo?
4 po. So tatlong babae at saka isang lalaki.
Okay. So ilang taon yung youngest na mo ngayon?
So let's go by age. So you see Adi, yung eldest ko is 28, si Isabella's 23, Nathaniel's 22, tapos si Macy is 15.
15, okay. Hindi po ba kayo nahirapan? Kasi doon sa Pilipinas, conservative tayo, iba tayong magpalaki, di ba? Although hindi mo yun na-experience kasi at that time, teenager po kayo nang umalis. Pero syempre, makikita mo yan how your parents raised you, di ba? So, iba kasi yung may pagka-modern yung mga bata dito. So, yung iba pag 18 years old gusto nang umalis sa tahanan mo kasi gusto nang magsarili. Nangyari po ba 'yan sa mga anak mo?
Hindi po, nandito pa rin sila lahat. interesting.
Magaling,
parang
magaling.
the best of both worlds. Well, yung let me quantify that. Yung si Adi tsaka yung asawa niya, when they got married, they moved to Saskatchewan for 2 years, right?
Okay.
Tapos bumalik sila dito. So yun ang base maintenance namin ngayon. Pero yung 2 years na umalis sila, doon sila talagang lumaki. Para bang umalis silang married single, pagkabalik nila, mature and adults na, right? So yung so yun. So even though yun ang gusto nilang gawin, alam nila dito sa BC, it's not practical because napakamahal ng renta. More importantly, kung paano bumili ng bahay, even more expensive. So most of them have decided to stay. I don't know by choice, but more like by finance, most likely. But they're welcome here, right? And so basta matulong lang sila ng kaunti sa pagkain, because syempre we have a big family and alam na nyo ang grocery bill, napakamahal. Internet bill, malaki, because everybody uses internet and so forth. So yun so in some way parang that's happened by nature and nurture. So yeah.
So Attorney Divine, hindi naranasan ni Ramon yan na, Dad, aalis na ako. Hindi na niya naranasang umiyak.
Yeah. Oo, tama.
Ako na yung gumawa ng magulang ko nung pumunta ako sa Calgary. So hindi ko naranasan pa yan dito. Well, naranasan ko once when my eldest left, but she came back. So.
Okay. So, Tony mentioned to me na you are into public service. So, in fact, you are running for a city councilor in Surrey, British Columbia. Ba't niyo po naisipan na pumasok sa politics?
It's in my blood, ate. Attorney Divina. If you see the pictures I sent you, meron tayong picture doon na I call the three Ramons.
Yes.
Si Ramon Imperial Diaz is my tito on my mom's side. Ramon Abella Diaz is my grandpa, and then me. So that's who I'm named after. Ang pangalan ko po is actually both my grandfathers. So Ramon Diaz on my mom's side, Isabelo Bandong on my dad's side. So ang buong pangalan ko is Ramon Isabelo Diaz Bandong. So the reason I wanted to get into politics is to follow in the exact same footsteps as Lolo Ramon. If you research him and Google him, he was a senator. He was the director of the PC Presidential Commission on Good Government under Cory. And then one of his last postings before he retired from public life was he was the Philippine ambassador to Canada. He was based out of Ottawa around Cory's time as well. And then so he was always in public service.
Okay.
And I always but one thing that you didn't see on his personal side is he was a man of faith. Every morning when we used to live with him, nasa harap ng Sacred Heart yan, tapos nagpe-pray ng rosary daily, right? And then I was thinking, can a public servant be a man of God at the same time?
Yes.
How is that possible? And
Yes.
It is possible, right? And so yung example na yon translated to me here because nahalata ko it was my wife Lorianne that actually encouraged me to run for office. Siya yung nagsabi na, Ramon, things at the Surrey City Hall is not right? Things are not. The council are fighting in between each other, and they anytime na meron kang opinion na contrary sa anong pinagsasabihan nila doon, pinapaalis ka imbes na pinapakinggan ka. So all of these kind of things kind of reminded me of what my lolo fought for, and I was thinking maybe I have a chance. Maybe I have a chance to do some good. And so that's when I told my dad, who told his boss, who told Ate Mabel Elmore, who's a prominent Filipino MLA here. And then I got introduced to Ginny Sims, and that's how it all got started. Ate is all the connections, like yung sabi nga nila, be careful what you wish for, because life will find a way to make it happen. So.
So, is this your first time na nag-seek ka ng public office?
It is. It is the very first time. And now when people ask me, Ramon, you have no idea for public office. So I always like what Ginny Sims, the mayoral candidate I'm running with, together with the Surrey Forward team, told me when I first met her. Sabi niya, Ramon, with anything politics, I can teach you, right? I can help you run government and so forth. I can teach that to you. Pero ang hindi ko pwedeng ituro sa inyo is integrity, honesty, service, all of that. You have to come with that.
Tama.
So the reason na you did not hear about me in any fashion for the last 20 years I've been in Surrey is I've been raising a family. But in spite of that, I served under 3 church leaders in my local congregation. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And as you know, lahat ng mga church leadership namin is lay ministry. Ministry. And so we believe so much in Jesus Christ. We believe doing good in the countries and the cities we live in. And we believe in education, all of that, fairness and so forth. So I was a counselor to one of the bishops. The bishop is kind of like the leader of the congregation, and he has a day job like all of us, and he has 2 counselors to help him. In our ward, there's about 400 members, right? And so as a counselor, we lead church meetings. We get to know our congregants really well to find out anong spiritual needs nila, but more important, anong physical, temporal needs nila, right? If they need help in finding a better job, who do we help them get contact with para they can provide better for their family? So all of those years na I was I call it my private life, I was actually honing the skills of service, honing the skills of leadership. Now I'm ready to share with not only my own family, but the entire Surrey family, of all the Surrey families. Right? So that, yeah. I hope that answers your question natin.
Curious ako, Mon, kasi kung sa Surrey kasi is 2 kayo dyan, di ba? Mayroong isa pa na Pilipino. Hindi kaya yun balakid sa pagkukuha ng isang posisyon? Kasi 2 kayo ngayon dyan. So what do you think? Kuya Tony, if you're talking about Narima de la Cruz, I welcome her to come on board as well, because ang kagandahan to win, so in Surrey, you are voting for 1 mayor and you're voting for 8 councillors, so 8 councillors and 6 school trustees. And then the Surrey Forward slate that I belong to, which has been Ginny Sims as a mayoral candidate, and then my 6 other colleagues, my Dr. Jan, my 2 business people, my lawyer, we only 7 total. So if hypothetically Surrey residents vote Ginny Sims for mayor, Dr. Jody Tour, Paramjeet Malhi, sino pa, si Archmander, Philip Aguirre, Junlu, si Lisa Pidcock, tsaka ako, meron pa tayong room for Narima. So, right? So, I hope she does the same na, hey, I'm running, but I can work closely with Ramon. That's what my hope is. My hope is. I don't know, right? I'm always try to work on from a point of bridge building instead of pader building.
Yeah.
I'm a builder, not a wall builder. So.
Tama. Okay. So kung sakali, because I understand na yung election is next month na, right?
Yes, October 15.
October 15.
October 15. So, if in case pala rin po kayo, considering as 7, tapos may, ilan kayong candidates for city councilors?
For Understory Forward, one mayor, 7. 7 out of 8.
7 out of 8. So, imagine, di sure na kayo.
No, ang ibig niya sabihin, Attorney Divine, ilan ba ang dapat iboto? Yun ang 718 sila. Pero you're asking how many candidates? Lahat po. Yun ang
Yeah, yung total candidates sa, for that position. Marami kayo.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, marami. Right now, they're finalizing yung... So this week is the first week of submitting our candidate package. Next week is the last week of submitting our candidate package. As far as I know, there's 5 to 6 mayoral candidates. There's about, my rough estimates, 50 to 60 candidate or councilor candidates. So marami tayo. So when you look at the ballot, nako, ilang pages yan. And so you can choose. Yeah, exactly. Double pages siguro yung mayor, yung councilor candidates because napakarami namin. You can choose one mayor and up to 8 councilors and up to 6 school trustees. Yeah.
Okay.
Bon, alam mo na, Bon, anong numero ka po?
Kuya,
mayroon na bang na-assign na number sa'yo? Kunyari, boboto ako. I'll just go to the number, number 7, number 8. May number na po bang naka-assign sa'yo?
Wala pa, Kuya. Wala pa. Because pina-finalize pa lang nila lahat ng mga
Candidates.
Candidate packages this next 2 weeks.
Okay. Sir, imagine, hanggang ngayon, hindi mo talaga nakalimutan yung pagtatagalog, di ba?
Yes.
So, ano yung culture, Filipino culture na tinuro mo sa mga anak mo? Na hindi mo talaga gustong mawala ang Filipino culture na yon?
Ang pinakamalaking part ng culture that I've taught my kids is our food, our love of our Filipino food.
Talaga?
I love food. Well, I mean, kung isipin mo, most memorable memories we have, whether it's our first date or our family gathering, always ends up with pancit, ends up with lumpiang Shanghai. If you want some dessert, you got leche flan, you got halo-halo, you got brazo de Mercedes. So if anything, the love of Filipino food has been kind of like the silver lining, the thread that binds my family together. They love food.
Okay.
They love food. And now na they're getting older, they want to learn more about our culture. Yeah. So yun ang if anything. And then just yung drive for education. Kung ano man yun. It doesn't have to be, if where your passion leads you to post-secondary, go for it. If it leads you to, like my son Nathaniel, he finished 2D animation, right, at one of the prominent universities here or colleges here. So he's just preparing to get into that. My daughter Isabella went into nails, like nail technician siya. So magaling siya magpintura ng nails. And then, so may kanya-kanyang kung ano man yung passion nila talaga eh. So if anything, yung just pursuit of self-improvement and making sure na kung ano man yung piliin mong trabaho or calling improves the world that you live in, right? So whatever that is.
Yeah. What about your mom and dad? Nandito pa sila sa Canada or sa Pilipinas sila?
Yes. Oh no. My mom and sister live here in Suri also. Mom is retired already for the past 11 years.
Okay.
One of the things in all of her struggles, she ended up actually volunteering at the grade school that my sister was at, yung Immaculate Conception sa Vancouver, doon sa office. Tapos eventually, nung nag-retire yung officer doon, yung office manager, siya yung na-hire, and she was there for 20 years. Right? So that's how she got, she became the office manager of Immaculate Conception School in Vancouver for 20 years until she retired about 11 years ago. And then my dad, he was a well-known life insurance agent among Filipinos. His name was Isabelo June Bandong, if you know him. And unfortunately, Attorney Divina, we lost him on December 8th last year to stroke. So,
okay.
Yeah. But he lived a full life. So it was, I miss him. I miss him a lot. Like this last Father's Day was the very first Father's Day na I did not have I call him my pops, P-O-P-S. My pops. I miss my pops.
So, Mon, mayroon akong tanong ngayon sa iyo na bakit ba si Ramon Bandong ang iboboto namin? Go ahead.
Salamat. That is a great question, Kuya Tony. Ganito po, kung bakit hindi nyo... Now, I have to quantify this as well. In order para may boses si Ramon, kailangan din natin botohin yung ibang kasama ko para may boses si Ramon. Pero the reason na kailangan natin ibotohin si Ramon is alam ko po ang ating sakripisyo ng mga ating magulang, ang ating mga lolo and lola para dumating lang dito. Hindi para sa kanilang sarili, kung hindi sa mga susunod sa kanila. So I know the immigrant struggle. I know the racism that we still face, right? Especially ngayon na Asian hate is on the rise. We are, unfortunately, some of us are recipients of that. So alam kong what it means to build a city that respects and includes everybody. Because an attack on one people is an attack on all people. An attack on one way of life is attack on all ways of life. And then more importantly, using my 15 years of financial background, I know what affordability looks like and sounds like for families. I have a big family, so I know what that struggle looks like. So putting that all together, I'm the best candidate to make that happen. More importantly, one of my goals, if elected, is hopefully having our own, when things are right, hopefully having our own gathering place as well here in Surrey, a Filipino gathering place, hopefully, right? That's one of the things that I'm working closely with Ginny Sims and our and my colleagues. That we've done it successfully in Seattle. We're about to do it in Vancouver. I hope to do the same thing here. Because ang natutunan ko is we need a gathering place para we can celebrate our culture. And more importantly, we can bring our kids and their friends to say, hey, look, all of those years na I grew up here, Attorney Divina and Kuya Tony, is parang in some ways, I've been taught by society to bury, ilibing yung aking Filipino-ness. Those days are gone. We have to bring them forth. Let's not be ashamed of being Filipino.
True.
We have so much to celebrate. We have so much to be thankful for. And we're not taking away from the Canadian culture. We're adding to the Canadian culture, right? Culture. And so, by voting Ramon, Bandong with Ginny Sims and Surrey Ford on October 15th, that could be a closer reality than ever before.
Yeah. At least you're an immigrant. So, alam mo kung ano yung pangangailangan ng isang immigrant. So, magiging voice kayo sa mga immigrants. Di ba? Yun yung kailangan natin, Tony, because it's really true na mag-struggle talaga ang immigrants pagdating dito.
Exactly.
Mm-mm. So, okay. So, Brad Tony, parang wala na tayong oras. Sa ibabaw kasi yung orasan ko. Okay, so...
Ang dami pa natin sanang i-discuss. Ang daming pa natin gustong itanong kay Ramon. Pero yung oras po, parang binigyan na tayo ng signal natin yung...
Tama. Pero I just hope na yung mga kababayan natin, yung mga immigrants will support sa mga kandidatong immigrants tulad ni Ramon, no? Because not all of us gustong maging bosses nila. Not all of us gustong maging public servant. It's a sacrifice on their part. Kasi ako on my part, hindi ko kaya yan, no? Kasi masyadong busy yan, tapos may pamilya tayo. But nandito sila si Ramon at saka yung ibang Filipino na nag-offer ng public service. Kasi dito sa Canada, totoong public service, di ba? So sana suportahan nila ang mga Filipino at ibang immigrants na nagsisik ng public office.
Yeah, ang sabi ba, Ramon, remember when we were in consulate office, nang doon po ng mayor ng City of Cebu, anong sinabi niya? When you do the public service, you have to do it by your heart.
True.
Yes. Yeah. You're answering a call. Like you're just like what Jesus would do. He basically said, "Nah, it's a service of love." That's why I'm answering the call.
Yeah. Tama po. Okay, so sir, ano pong parting message mo para sa mga nakikinig natin, para sa mga butante na nakikinig? Go ahead.
Maraming salamat po sa isang oras na we shared together today. Grabe, ang bilis ng oras.
Yeah.
Ang suggestion ko sa inyo lahat doon, kung ano mang municipality, kung meron kayong mga election, go out and vote. Especially Filipinos are so underrepresented in every municipality we live in. Be counted and let your voice be heard. And if you feel prompted to run for office, go ahead. But make sure you have the support of your family and your friends. Don't just jump on it alone, because I'll tell you, the only way this is working for me is with the loving support of my wife, Lorianne, and my family and my friends. So please vote for us on October 15th, Surrey Ford and Ginny Sims team. Salamat po sa oras niyo.
Okay, thank you kaayo Sir Ramon, and we hope and pray na sana ibigay ni Lord yung gusto nyo na magiging public servant, kasi nagsimula ka na di ba? Nag-serve po kayo sa church at saka ngayon gusto mong i-expand pa yung public service na binigay mo sa mga tao. So kami ni Tony, nandito lang kami suporta sa mga kababayan natin. Di ba? Yes, Brad Tony, yung parting message mo, go ahead.
Napakasarap na yung topic natin ngayon, Attorney Divine, pero yan, sinabi ko nga, natapos na yung isang oras. So sa mga taong nakikinig ngayon, watching us now in Surrey, marami tayong mga kaibigan na nakatira sa Surrey. Sa mga na nakatingin ngayon is si Ramon po, isang Pilipino. Kung ano may yung party affiliation niya, kasi Pilipino po siya, suportahan natin para magkakaroon tayo ng representation. So salamat Attorney Divine, salamat Mon. Sa susunod naman na pagkakataon, I know Attorney Divine, marami pa tayong Pilipino kasi sa pagkakalam ko, I think 5 Mon. So 5 po sila. So next time, pero i-alternate natin to Divine sa susunod na linggo na naman. Salamat salamat po sa panonood sa CCTN International Pinoy Journey.
Okay, thank you Brad Tony, and of course ni Sir Ramon Bandong, kandidato ng pagka-City Councilor sa Surrey, British Columbia. And we are so proud of you. Ramon, no? At least may mga Pilipino tayo nga na nag-exil talaga, most especially sa public service. So wala na tayong oras, pasalamatan na lang natin yung mga televiewers natin, and we hope na may natutunan kayo or na-inspire kayo sa sinishare na journey ni Ramon Bandong, na isang Pilipino na matagal nang nanirahan dito sa Canada, pero hindi talaga nawawala yung pagka-Pilipino niya. Kasi yung pagsasalita ng Tagalog, di ba, andyan pa rin. So iba talaga ang mga Pinoy. Yan yung gusto natin di ba? Pumunta tayo sa ibang bansa, hindi para kalimutan ang kultura natin, kundi para i-share ang kultura natin sa bansa na pinuntahan natin, di ba? Okay, so maraming salamat. Thank you. And of course, sa atong mga kaubanan sa CCTN, thank you ni Inday Lopez de sa TOC, thank you sa ni Juan Lopez Alphabete, thank you sa atong man nga si Nico Cabarles, of course, salamat ni Robert Algidano. So, wa naman tayo igong oras, hantod na lang sa sunod semana, dini lang sa inyong paboritong tulumanon, CCTN International Pinoy Journeys. Have a nice day, everyone. God bless.